Hello, I'm Cleopatra Wallace, and this video is for my preppers. Alright, so as we know, it's August 2022, and if you are a fellow prepper, you know it is time to prepare for winter. So we're going to just do a dozen of eggs. Since I have my fingernails halfway off, it's easy. You know, some things are best did when you don't have your fingernails on. So let's label these eggs so we can remember when they were bought. August 2022. Oh, I'm going to have to go back over that with a pen. Alright, August 2022. Okay, that's better. Alright, so what we're doing is we are preparing this dozen eggs to make them last for 6 to 8 months. First thing we need is some eggs that you just brought. Let them get to room temperature, which I have done here. The second thing you're going to need is some mineral oil. It doesn't matter where you bought it. This is Walgreens. And you're going to need some gloves. So the idea is to coat these eggs with the mineral oil, and what the mineral oil does is it stops air from getting inside the shell. And as we know, air is what rots food. Air rots a lot of things, okay? So, got our gloves on. Let's get started. So what I'm doing is we're going to talk about some other preps that I've been getting ready. So yesterday I went to a few pets. Can I talk this morning? I went to a few pet stores and I was looking for, let me take my gloves off so I get this open. I went to a few pet stores and I was looking for fish antibiotics. And I don't have fish. So you may be wondering, why is she looking for fish antibiotics? Fish antibiotics are actually amoxicillin in a very lower dose than you would have for a human. But if you take enough of it, it's the equivalent to a prescription, like a human prescription of amoxicillin. So it's a good way to get antibiotics without having a prescription. And, you know, you definitely are going to want some antibiotics in your prep. But they didn't have any. None of the pet stores I went to had fish antibiotics. So what I did was I started talking to the people behind the counter. And what they told me is I am correct. Fish antibiotics are actually amoxicillin. They don't carry it, but he directed me to a Tractor Supply store called Country Max. And he says they carry it. So I'm going to, all right, just stab it. I'm going to give up on going to pet stores and I'm going to go to a Tractor Supply store next to try to get the fish antibiotics. Okay, so yesterday when I was in the supermarket, I moseyed on over to the beef section because I'm sure you have heard the rumors that the ranchers have been selling off their cattle because of the drought. All right. First, let me put a little oil on my gloves. All right, and it's good and thick, so. All right, now back to the story. So the ranchers are selling off their cattle, so this could be your last chance to get the meats that you really want to eat over the winter. So I got a few racks of ribs and some ground beef, and I put them away. And I don't know why I didn't film that yesterday, but what I do is I save all my coffee bags, you know, those like freeze dry bags that you can reseal them and all of that. So I save all of my coffee bags, and I like to wait till I get to about a dozen. And those are what I use to put away meat. Because those coffee bags lasts 3 times as longer than a Ziploc bag. Not saying that Ziploc bags aren't, oops, getting slippery. Not saying that Ziploc bags aren't good for putting meat away, but those little coffee bags, and if you're coffee drinker, you know what I'm talking about. Those are some good bags because you need that coffee to be fresh. So yeah, so yesterday I went and I got a few bags of ribs and some ground beef, and I put that away in my coffee bags. But I still have a few more preps to get. Like I haven't gotten any flour or any cooking oil yet, or water. And those are all very important things. Now, I know what you're thinking. Like water, that's something that's like always available. Yes, water is always available, but it's not always nearby. So, just as the winter approaches, I try to have at least like 5 cases of water in case the snow gets really bad and I just don't want to go outside. It's like just drink a bottle of water and call it a day. So I have to get some water. I have to get some cooking oil. And also I need to get some flour. And don't forget your pets. If you have pets, make sure you have the things that they need as well. Like their food, their snacks, their litter, or just everything, because you can be as comfortable as you want, but if your pet is sitting there miserable, you're going to be miserable with them, and we all know that. So don't only prep for yourself, prep for your pets. And also, people say the first rule of Pet Prep Club is to keep your preps private. Don't tell anybody about what you have squirreled away or where you put it at and stuff like that. But also, even though you're prepping for yourself and like your immediate loved ones, prep for like one extra person. You never know who might show up on your doorstep that just really needs a sandwich and a bottle of water or something. So don't have exact measurements. Try to, all right, so we just did all of them. I'm going to go over them again one more time before I put them away. Right, so prep for one extra guest. And if you don't have an extra guest, then everybody can just have a second helping or whatever it is. So be generous with your preps when it comes to yourself and your family. But don't forget to think of others. And actually, I confessed yesterday, I bought a giant bag of bird seed because right, they get pretty hard to pick up after you put the oil all over them. I think they're pretty good. Yeah, they're good and shiny. See them? All right, so that's a dozen eggs. And for me, I live alone, so it will probably take me about 4 months to eat this dozen eggs because I use them one egg at a time, like if I'm making cornbread or making brownies. So I don't use very many eggs. But if your family uses a lot of eggs, I would suggest you go ahead and get a bunch of those now and coat them with mineral oil and then put them back into the refrigerator, and you will be guaranteed to have eggs. If anything happens, they're in there. And if nothing happens, well, you're cutting down on waste. So there are a million things that you can do to get yourself ready for the winter or for any oncoming disaster. And if you like this prep video and you want to see more of my preps, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.